All right, we're back at it again. Kennard, Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. I want to welcome all the SEC fans and Auburn fans, and especially this week, the Arkansas fans. We got yet another episode of Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn as we talk about some of the latest on college football and most notably the Auburn versus Arkansas game. Now, if you could, I would like for you to go ahead and smash the like button, the subscribe button, and also share this thing with a friend. We've been doing this for for quite a while, and just want to welcome everybody to the show. And we're going to be talking about a few things as it relates to college football and the outcomes, because we're in November now, and the outcomes of these next couple of weeks are really going to shape up how this college football playoff turns out. And there could be some surprises, and there could be some teams that are probably not even thinking about being eligible for bowl games that probably will be. Now, before we get into the Auburn versus Arkansas game, let's go ahead and talk about some of the notable games of this week. You know, Coach Prime has been, at the center of attention in college football. A lot of folks are, we're trying to see how Prime would do. And no, Prime is not, doesn't have a winning record at the moment. But you got to say that this Colorado football team is better than they were last year. They have been ultimately competitive. And Coach Prime in Colorado, they take on the number 23 Arizona football team, and they're seeking bowl eligibility. And what stands out in this game is, let's just say if Coach Prime in Colorado would have been able to secure that win against Stanford, the road to bowl eligibility at 6-6 or 7-5 would have been a lot more manageable. But now they have a situation where after that epic comeback, probably historic on all levels of college football, they would have to win out, or at worst win 2 of the last 3 games to become bowl eligible. And I think if Coach Prime can find a way to become bowl eligible, get those extra practices, get some recruiting in, and then get that extra exposure, I think that would be good for the program at Colorado. I do know, and I do feel that he has made some strides. He's going through the growing pains that most other coaches go through in year one. But because he's Coach Prime, and because the radar is on his back, and he understands that, that's why he's getting the scrutiny that he's getting. Now, a big game in the Big Ten, you're looking at Penn State versus Michigan. Michigan, the number 2 team in the country, they've been flirting around number 1 and number 2 for the past few weeks. Penn State still in the top 10. I think this goes as far as an elimination type football game for both Penn State and Michigan. I think more so for Michigan. Michigan has to find a way to move the football. They have this game at home, and I think they have the opportunity to figure out a way to get a double-digit win and possibly secure their way back into the number 1 spot. Tennessee and Missouri, I think this is a huge game, especially for Tennessee. Tennessee, coming off of having the opportunity, if they went out, they kind of sort of control their destiny, but they need a little help. Tennessee lost some games early in the season, lost to Alabama, which could prove detrimental. But Tennessee especially is looking at the game against Georgia and Ole Miss. And the reason why they're looking at it is this. Georgia loses that game to Ole Miss. Tennessee is right back in the running. Tennessee has Georgia at home, and that puts Tennessee in a position to where they could possibly push the envelope to ease into the Southeastern Conference Championship. Now, I would have had a little bit more to deal with the logistics as to how Tennessee can make it, but hey, this is the Auburn versus Arkansas show. We ain't got time for all that. Georgia versus Ole Miss, I think the biggest game in college football, one of the biggest games in college football, probably the biggest college football game day. Will be making the trip down to Athens, Georgia, as you have a top SEC team matchup Georgia very talented on their side. Lane Kiffin trying to prove a point. Can Lane Kiffin get the upset and put his team in a position as they went out to be successful? And hopefully what Ole Miss is hoping for is the resurgence of Auburn possibly getting the upset win over Alabama, as you have that head-to-head rule there. And last but not least, former Auburn Tiger Bo Nix and Oregon face USC at home. Now, this is an area where I'm kind of concerned about Oregon because they always have those letdown games late in the season. Bo Nix has proven to be one of the better quarterbacks in college football. He's the most experienced quarterback in college football, I think. He takes on Caleb Williams, who is a former incumbent Heisman Trophy winner. I don't think he wins the Heisman this year, but Oregon has an opportunity at number 6 in the country to win this game by a big fashion, and considering there could be some shakeups in the top 25, well, in the top 10, top 4, top 5, to where Oregon could kind of ease up to that number 5 spot to put them in position to possibly be the Pac-12 representative in the college football playoff. Now we reshift gears and we go to Arkansas versus Auburn. Arkansas beat Florida for the first time in the series history. Now, this series doesn't have a lot of sample size because, they didn't play each other that much anyway. And then Arkansas entered the SEC West in 1992. And usually when you have, they entered the SEC West, Florida's in the SEC East. So usually when you have these interconference football games, there could be several years in between playing these games as to when the two teams will play each other again. So the volume of the games in this series is pretty low. Florida leads the series 10-3. Arkansas wins for the first time this season in Florida. Now, here's a little skinny on the background of Arkansas in the recent weeks. Arkansas fired Dan Enos as offensive coordinator. I don't think it was a good hire to begin with. They lost 7-3 to Mississippi State, which is absolutely terrible. You should be able to score at least 21 points. Any team in the SEC should be able to score at least 21 points against Mississippi State. Which in hindsight, like I said before, is a questionable hire to begin with. Kendall Browse takes the job at TCU. His offense, you talk about Dan Enos' offenses, they don't create explosive plays. They just don't. And to the point where they average 27 points per game, but during the Dan Enos era, which ended a few weeks ago, 22 points per game in 4 games. But this team may have found a spark. I think Arkansas may have found a spark because they have Raheem Rocket Sanders, who is back. Many of y'all know him from last year, had 1,400 yards. He started out, coming back against Florida. He had 18 carries for 103 yards, averaged 5.7 yards per carry. Now, this is not, Bo Jackson, Emmitt Smith kind of numbers, but it does give you a little promise as to what he can do because we've seen what he can do. He's a sleeping giant and is capable of a breakout game against Auburn. Auburn, through the years, are known for giving guys that comeback game, that breakout game. Hopefully hope this is not the case. A lot of sports writers, I even think Hugh Freeze knows that this is a scary football game. And it's pretty easy to dictate that, considering, before the Florida game, 5 straight games that were lost were to Power 5 teams. 2 ranked in the top 25, Mississippi and Alabama. LSU, who probably are a top 15 team. They're now ranked number 18, probably the most talented among their group. And if not for a brutal schedule with LSU and losing by average a touchdown or so, the margin of error is very thin with this Arkansas team. Arkansas in these games, BYU, Alabama, LSU, teams, etc., 6 points has been the differential. So Auburn definitely cannot look past this opponent. KJ Jefferson is probably the most difficult quarterback at times to defend within the box, especially with what Auburn has been doing through the season. They've been leaving the box kind of open. I think Auburn needs to enclose the box. I think Auburn, especially with Austin Keys coming back and, you know, having those extra linebackers in there, they're going to have to stack. They're going to have to stack, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Now, he makes guys struggle to bring him down. He has a lot of pocket presence, but in addition to his pocket presence, he's able to strong arm the first guy, make him miss. Maybe if you get some gang tackles in there, then you can bring him down. He had a good game against Alabama where he escaped and showed why he's one of the strongest quarterbacks probably in all of college football, and hard to bring down, especially once he gets rolling downhill. Now, if you look at the size of the backfield for Arkansas, it's crazy. KJ Jefferson, 6'2", 240-something pounds. You got a running back that's 6'2", 240-something pounds, and to have to contend with this for 60 minutes in a game could be problematic for Auburn if they cannot control the ball on offense. I think it's going to be very essential for Auburn to do this. Now, you look at KJ Jefferson providing that leadership, and I think he has the juice and he has the team to possibly get a win over Auburn. And especially the media says that Arkansas is favored. They're favored by 3 points with an over-under of about 50. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to talk about that in my prediction show either tomorrow or Thursday. Arkansas can be pretty dangerous on defense as well. They don't allow a lot of points and have been proven to create turnovers. This could be a stalemate between Auburn and Arkansas because both teams have that ability to create the turnovers. Now, how significant the turnovers will be what's up for a debate. Now, Arkansas is led statistically by Jaheim Thomas, transfer from Cincinnati. He leads the team in tackles at, he has about 79 tackles. Overall, the team has 8 interceptions and 6 fumble recoveries. Most notably, Jalen Braxton's strip fumble for touchdown against Florida. Auburn has their hands full, guys. They got their hands full. It's going to be up to these key players for Auburn to secure the win. Number one, Peyton Thorne. Peyton Thorne has improved statistically over the last few weeks. He's still missing guys that are open. I think he has to find those in order to give Auburn the opportunity to be successful. DJ James has to continue to be that shutdown corner that he has been. Rivaldo Fairweather has continued to create the imbalance that he has created at that tight end position for Auburn. Jalen McLeod, I think, is going to be huge in this game to be able to set the edge and be able to contain KJ Jefferson. And Jarquez Hunter has to have at least 150 yards, I think, in order for Auburn to win this game. Now, let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for all the Arkansas fans, SEC fans that have come over to the channel to view this video. Also, become a member. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let's get the comment section active. As a matter of fact, with the comments, I want to know from you guys as football fans predictions on the following games. I want to know how you think Colorado and Arizona is going to be, Penn State and Michigan, Georgia and Ole Miss, and Missouri versus Tennessee. Put your comments, put your predictions in the comment section. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger or Eagle.